Absolutely. So if you take a look at the CPI that came in, I'm pulling it up right here on my numbers here, you can see that the consensus was that we would get a 0.3% increase, and instead it was only 0.2%. And I'm looking at the month over month numbers because we're having such a deceleration. I'm not going to say that we're actually getting into recession. We're just slowing down because all of those effects from last year, from those massive rate hikes by the Fed, are finally kicking in. And so, looking at the year over year numbers is kind of misleading because so much has been happening in like the last 3 months. So, I'm just going to be looking at month over month numbers. And so, less than expected, and then when you factor out the more volatile food and energy, still less than expected. So that's actually great news. It means that costs are coming under control. And then if we take a look at the producers price index on Thursday that followed on, this is that wholesale inflation that producers see inside their supply chain and all that. Same thing was going down. So if we take a look over here, the consensus was for a 0.2% increase, only got a 0.1% increase. When you start to factor out the more volatile food and energy, it's less than expected. I mean, this is all great news, especially when you also combine this with our jobless claim numbers that came in on Thursday, which said that, hey, actually, jobless claims were less than expected and less than before, which basically means that there's more people being employed and more people getting wages. This kind of came into the investor mindset this week, basically saying that, hey, wages are finally going to get to a point where they outpace expenses, because we've been having this thing where people have been getting bigger paychecks, but they haven't been able to really enjoy those bigger paychecks because the costs at the supermarket and the costs at the different stores and the costs at the restaurants have all gone up even more than we've been collecting on our paychecks. Maybe it's like giving us signs that maybe our paychecks are going to continue to increase by a little bit, but the costs are going to moderate, and that's giving investors some really good sentiment to move forward this week.